Hello and welcome back to the Double One Radio Gamescast. It's episode number 62. As always, I'm your host Ryan, and I'm joined by my lovely cohort of co-hosts. We're in weird positions today because Brett's camera exploded. So,
Sorry.
hi Wyatt.
Rip in peace, Brett's camera.
Hi Alex.
I have part of a glove on.
Hi
You
Brett.
silly! It doesn't cover all the fingers!
All right. Well, today we're doing a special show. This one's not being streamed live, so don't worry, you didn't miss an episode. We're just recording this for posterity because we've got to do it pretty early in advance. We're doing tier lists, all right? We're starting the tier list saga. We're creating a predictions tier list to each of us individually of what we think the final tier of E3 is going to look like. A week or two after E3, whenever we can, we'll get together and then make a final group tier list. Whoever is closest to that group tier list gets to reveal the stakes. I'll tell you what the stakes are at the end of the episode. I'm going to keep you in suspense until then. But there are stakes.
They juicy?
You talking like medium well?
Very juicy. I'm talking a proper mid-rare.
We
We can't go out swinging with rare, but a proper mid-rare. All right?
I mean, surely these can't be Wagyu.
I was just about to say
Wagyu.
some Wagyu steak.
Alex not even getting his Wagyu correct. All right.
Wagyu.
So, before we get
I'm
started,
sorry.
there are a few E3-related things that we're going to go over. So I gave you the tease of the tier list, but we're not going to go there quite yet because in the sake of everyone having access to the same information I do, so no one's at an unfair advantage, there's some rumors going around, all right?
Yes.
There's some E3 rumors, and we got to talk about them before we start, so everyone is on equal footing with this event, all right? The biggest rumor that I think the most people here care about, there has been heavy hinting that Elden Ring will reveal itself.
Mm-hmm.
However,
I do know this one.
Oh my
However, we know it will not be during the Xbox conference, and we have no clue where else it would be. So, could be at Summer Games Fest kickoff, could be at Bandai Namco. Elden Ring is our wild card. It's gonna show up, blow everything up.
I have a part two. I heard that one man is in possession of a copy of Elden Ring.
Oh, that's where this rumor comes from.
And this man comes by the name of Jeff Keighley himself.
Hey, Jeff Keighley is on our tier list. He's the only
Mhm.
non-conference
That's
entity
why.
Man.
on our tier list. But he is there, and he will be placed on that tier list.
If my man Jeff holds the key to Elden Ring, then he will single-handedly just top this
Look,
tier
we'll
list
talk about
because
how we're
he
going to rank
owns
Jeff
Elden
Keighley
Ring.
in a minute. But there's a few other things. So I do have some lists here of what studios we know are working on IPs, so that we all have an idea of the big three. The PlayStation ones we're not going to go over yet because obviously they're not at E3 until they do whatever they're planning, probably in July. So
They're too cool for E3.
they're too cool, which means we're really not going to see much from them at this. We might see some other announcements, but they showed Horizon. We're probably going to get some God of War stuff soon, but there's not really a whole lot in that list that's helpful for Sony right now. Irrelevant. They're not even on our tier list because they're not at E3. So, poor Sony. Boo-hoo. Same as EA.
we?
But the other big two, Nintendo and Xbox, all right? A lot of these other studios are wild cards. We'll talk about 2K in a moment because we do have some strong 2K leaks. But Nintendo, we know Breath of the Wild 2 is in progress. We know Game Builder Garage is a thing they're releasing. And Splatoon 3 is happening. There's a big rumor been going around that the 3D Mario team is working on a new Donkey Kong. Those are our big rumors for Nintendo for now.
Have you heard anything about Metroid at all?
Not that I'm aware of.
It's in Fortnite.
Yeah, so the latest Metroid updates are the same as the last time we talked about Metroid 4, which is just that Retro is developing Prime 4. Last project was Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. So we're not sure if Metroid 4 is going to be shown at E3. There's not been any leaks either way. Nintendo tends to be pretty immune to leaks. And in general, we don't tend to talk a lot about leaks because they're not very productive generally, unless they're like super well regarded, or things that like Jason Schreier is liking, because Jason Schreier
Depends
is
on who
Jason
it comes
Schreier.
from.
Yeah, it really depends on if it comes from Jason Schreier, we'll talk about it, but generally we'll avoid a lot of it.
We're here to
Or
report on
about
solid
Pokemon.
news and then give you psychological damage through other means.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
I wanted to say something goofy, but I don't even know how to follow that up.
So there's another team at Nintendo that does a lot of side games. They co-develop snipper clips, stretchers. Good job, and they've ported a lot of games. They did the port of Captain Toad to Switch and the 3D World remaster. So the Nintendo Software Technologies, their president tweeted out a while ago, or their producer tweeted out a while ago, they wanted to do a Wave Racer sequel. So that could be here.
Woo!
That's all. We're just going off tweets. So,
Wave Racer, baby.
but hey, I'm down
I
for
may
Wave
sound like-
Racer.
I may sound like more of a fool than usual, but I have never heard of Wave Racer before.
Why?
It's like a
That's why I was
GameCube
cheering.
Oh,
era
okay.
game. Yeah.
We can be dumbasses together. It'll be
It's
great.
okay. If you cheer for it, people just think that you're excited and they don't care.
Wave Racer is like a GameCube era
Let's
series.
go.
All right.
It sounded like the type of hype when someone mentions knack.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, Wave Racer is actually good though. So
Imagine
Ooh.
if Sony had the gall to announce a Knack 3.
okay.
Just,
So the biggest wild card in my mind right now for Nintendo is Monolith Soft, because the last
Yes.
game they released was Xenoblade 2 in 2017. So they've had 4 years. We know they're co-developing Breath of the Wild 2, but them co-developing Breath of the Wild didn't have an impact on them releasing their own thing. And they've indicated they're working on another AAA RPG, likely not releasing super soon, except we know that their financial reports have led some good old financial report scroungers to believe that they're going to be having a release by the end of this fiscal year, which is March 2022. So by the end of like quarter 1, 2022, essentially within this year. That's their rumor. That's pretty much it. There's rumors about a Super Mario Party 2, some other smaller things of like Fire Emblem Studios working on Fire Emblem, stuff that all of us could easily tell you they're doing. So that we'll close
Fire
out
Emblem
Nintendo
game?
with that. Fire Emblem game. I would never expect that Intelligent Systems is working on a Fire Emblem game, Alex. I'm so glad that you've enlightened that they're
Or,
working on a
you
Fire
know,
Emblem game.
or, they could take a break and make another Advance Wars game after, however many years, but it's fine. Whatever.
Dude, 3D Advance Wars be pretty bomb. Although I don't have faith that they'd nail the art style. I don't know if Advance Wars transfers as nicely as Fire Emblem does to 3D. But
Who knows? I
It
say
could
we
be
just
great.
give them the chance so that we could just get it.
could be great.
Because I want it.
All right. So we've got a lot of Xbox Studios projects that are in the cooker right now. This is the big question mark of Xbox has a history of either being a really, really good show or just a completely boring one.
Yeah.
So what is revealed here is really going to determine what's going on for them. They didn't do a showcase last year, so we've got a lot of in the air things from them. They showed a few things, but none of them was like E3 level announcements. We got a lot of like teaser footage of Avowed and Fable and whatnot, but no actual game footage. So little
think
hard to
we'll be
predict what's
seeing-
actually going on.
Do you think we'll be seeing gameplay from either of those?
I'm gonna wait till predictions to talk about that. I don't want to give away my thought process, but
Okay.
this is some information on what the other studios at Xbox are working on. So Compulsion is supposedly working on a IP that is a mix between BioShock and Uncharted, and Phil Spencer has claimed this is the game he's most excited for.
Ooh.
No other
Playing
information,
favorites.
but Phil Spencer's playing favorites. Of course, Halo Infinite.
Phil's also a cool dude.
Phil's got good taste
I
in
like
games,
Phil.
so
I like Phil. No. I
Phil.
like Phil. Phil's a
why are you
good guy.
saying no, Wyatt? None of us are disagreeing
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
Well, maybe made it seem like for a second that I like the man. He's kind of single-handedly saved Xbox's reputation. So I like
Yeah.
it. It's fun.
Exactly.
All right. So we know Psychonauts 2 is in the cooker with Double Fine. It's been in the cooker for a long time. We know they're also working on an unannounced IP. In Exile, which is the studio that brought the Wasteland games back, is supposedly working on a AAA FPS RPG. So keep that in the back of your minds.
That sounds horrifying.
Hey, the Wasteland games are amazing, so I got faith they can probably pull something out. Probably janky, but I'm excited to see what it is. Microsoft still owns Mojang, so maybe they got something cooking, but we don't know. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is happening. Obsidian is working on 5 different projects right now, apparently. Most of them we know about. Grounded,
Lord.
Avowed. They're working on a couple of unannounced games that are likely
God they're with
sequels to
Microsoft.
existing things. Yeah, Obsidian is doing a lot of stuff. So
And it's gonna be good, I hope. Knock on wood.
hey, they've not put out a stinker yet. So I'm excited. They might be spreading themselves thin though. Playground Games has 2 teams working on Fable and Forza Horizon. So we don't know if there's any surprises there. The big
Those
other
seem
surprise. Oh, go ahead, Alex.
Wildly different. Those 2 games seem wildly different.
Oh yeah, Fable's in the Horizon engine apparently too. So the Forza engine. Yeah, they're making it in the same engine. I'm excited to see what that looks like because Forza games look beautiful.
They do look nice.
I think I said
Great
this
weather.
last time we talked about this, but hopefully it's the kind of engine that's pretty versatile and not like you can
Yeah.
make racing
Yeah.
games
I'm
with
betting
it,
they're
and, like,
modifying
not
it to
other
be.
things. Yeah.
All right. So Coalition is the Gears of War studio. We know that they are working on a Gears game, but that it's probably pretty far out. We also know that they're sharpening their blades on Unreal 5 by making a new IP. So they're doing something with new stuff. Whether or not that's ready to reveal, especially it being Unreal 5, we don't know. Rare is still working on Sea of Thieves and are due for another update. We also know they have a second team that is working on Everwild, that game that keeps showing up every couple of years, and we have
Oh yeah.
not seen any gameplay of, and they said they don't know what type of game it is last time it was shown. So
Wait. Hold on.
I have no recollection of this whatsoever.
Wait. Rare said that they didn't know what type of game it is?
I mean, it's the game, Alex, for your memory, that was like the crazy looking deer showed up. There was a bunch of cool character designs.
Prancing around with like staves and stuff.
Deer
Yeah.
showed.
It was a cool showcase, but we have no clue what they're doing. So yeah, a lot of other things. State of Decay 3 is at Undead Labs. The Initiative is another studio that is newly formed with a bunch of veteran devs from various studios, including Sony Santa Monica and Naughty Dog. They're the ones handling Perfect Dark, so we might see some more Perfect Dark stuff. id Software, Bethesda is doing a showcase here, and they're a title of the showcase. So we know Bethesda's probably going to show Starfield. They might, unlikely, but we might see some Elder Scrolls 6 hints. But Bethesda also, in their umbrella, is id Software and Arcane, so we're probably going to see stuff from them, as well as Tango Gameworks, which is Ghostwire Tokyo.
This is a Wolfenstein, man.
Groups to keep in mind. Machine Games is supposedly working on Wolfenstein.
There
ZeniMax,
needs to be something new from Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
That
after
that
Youngblood, we
last-
need some new stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'm
in
so
total,
invested.
it basically looks like there are 34-ish projects under the Xbox umbrella right now, not including
Wild.
indies and crazy surprises. So that's our Xbox roundup. So you guys are relatively caught up with the knowledge that I have, at least. Our last company to talk about is 2K Games, because this is a leak. This is a proper leak. And it is supposedly very credible because Jason Schreier has put his name on it. A bunch of industry people have kind of confirmed that this is very likely. We don't have names for any of this stuff, but we do know that 2K is working on an XCOM type game featuring Marvel characters. The rumor right now is
Okay.
it's probably X-Men, and it's
Okay.
being developed by Firaxis, which does XCOM. So it's a proper studio behind this. It's not like they're handing it off to someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
They keep taking like Marvel superheroes and just putting them in a genre that I wouldn't expect them to put
Hey,
them in.
so long as it's not a 3D brawler, because those have been the worst ones they've released recently. They've done the worst job
It is a
with them.
3D brawler, but
Yeah, I
it's also. Oh, go ahead.
I appreciate the XCOM's games as a series and just the stuff that's put into them. But I could just never get into them. I could never seem to hold one down and play it.
I
I'm
think
kind of
you
the same
all
way.
are doubting the abilities of the Fire Access
Well,
to
I'm
make
not,
a
I'm
cool
not,
Marvel themed game with XCOM.
No, I'm talking
style
about my
gameplay.
personal experience.
Well, and
I'm-
I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I'm just like that's not. It's another example of like that's not the genre that I would put superheroes in. But maybe they can do something interesting with it. I don't know.
Hey, I want to see superheroes in more genre. I want to see more genres that aren't just third-person AAA. That's what we've been getting so much of. I want to see stuff that isn't that.
That's
All
fair.
right. Well, part of this leak, I'm sure we're all very interested in, is that NBA 2K22 cover athlete on at least one of the editions will be Dirk Nowitzki. I don't know who this is.
Oh my god!
But I figure this is huge news, so I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. That might sway some
What?
decisions in the tier
That
list.
is-
So
Dirk!
I'm pretty sure that's peak hype right there. I don't think it gets much more. hype
Wave
than that.
Racer, baby! Yeah!
Yep. All right. We know that
Dirk
there
from
is a
Wave Racer?
Borderlands spin-off title in development. By spin-off, it's still meant to be like a Borderlands style game, still a multi-class like hero shooter type deal. Likely single player, but we don't know a lot more details. There's some rumors it's featuring Tiny Tina. Aside from that, we don't really know the name. We know some code names, but I'm not going to go talking about that when we might get a reveal in a week and it'll be completely different. So, codename Volt is another project. This is one that's supposedly really early development. So we're probably not going to see this at E3 is my bet, but it has been described as Cthulhu meets Saints Row.
Oh, Christ.
Wow,
I'm really excited for this now.
That's a tagline. I mean,
that's pretty wacky. Wow. All right.
it's a good tagline. All right.
It honestly just sounds like a Saints Row expansion or like DLC. To be honest, I could see them doing something.
Cthulhu
like
meets Saints Row. Yeah, I could see that.
Cthulhu with a dubstep gun.
Is everyone ready to begin the proper tier list?
Let's do it.
Ready as
Everyone experienced, remembering.
Oh,
All right, there are some.
I'm probably not going to remember
there are some
everything we
rules.
talked about.
There's some rules here. I'm going to be saving images of all of these with our names so we know who did what. And the important rules for this, you must have a developer in S tier, in D tier. There needs to be a bottom rung and a top rung. And you must have a developer in the Participation Award. Participation Award is what we expect to
Oh.
be the worst show.
Hmm.
All right?
They're not going to be there.
Well, Participation Award,
they're
they gotta be there.
participating. Yeah.
Now, I will say this. I'm looking at the stream right now. Some of it's very like low res. So there's a couple.
Don't worry,
things
I
that
will
can't
tell you
really
everything
read.
that I'm moving
Okay.
before I move them. You don't need to see the logos
Okay.
necessarily. But gist of it, we're going to go through the major conferences as well as the developers that are supposedly having showcases. Some of them haven't actually given times yet. But E3 has listed these guys as having showcase or presentation events. There's a
Okay.
few we're not putting here, like 24 Studios and some other smaller studios that we just don't know a lot about, so we can't really predict what their E3 is going to look like when we haven't really seen anything they've done before. So, something to keep in mind. But I'm going to go through, and we're going to start with the studios, or the presentations that are, like, not big hitters, okay? So these are our not big hitters. I'm going to ask, who wants to begin the tier list? Who's ready for their first picks? We're going to start with the PC Gaming Show and the Future Game Show. Those two are a package deal. They go in the same slot because they are back-to-back headline events, and they also are the ones we know very little about. So, they're our swing bet.
I'll go first.
All right, Brett.
I'll get my hot takes out of the way.
Now, you might know
So does that mean
this.
does
ahead.
this claim this whole list is mine now, basically?
This
Are we
list
doing
is
all mine
yours
first?
now. Yes, this
Okay,
is your
okay.
list. You're going to lead us through your thought process. And there's, of course, at the
Yes.
end, we're going to rank E3 as a whole, what tier we think this E3 is going to be. Jeff Keighley, we got to rank Jeff Keighley. Summer Games Fest Kickoff Live. This is their kickoff present, not the Summer Games Fest as a whole, just the presentation. We have both the Nintendo Direct and the Nintendo Treehouse Live. You can choose to rank them separately if you would like. Unless something crazy happens in the Treehouse, these will likely be ranked the same.
Is Treehouse? Is that like indie games?
Treehouse is where they show a bunch of gameplay after the direct. So it's like a
okay.
3-hour show after the direct where they just do a bunch of gameplay of a lot of stuff they talked about. But they've announced things at Treehouse before. They announced like the Tokyo Mirage Sessions stuff. They've announced like fairly large titles at Treehouse before, but it's always hard to predict. We got Bethesda and Xbox. I've kept them separate in case we want to move them. Even though they're at the same showcase, the way we'll determine these is if we're formerly under the Bethesda umbrella or the Xbox umbrella. Will be the separation for these. We have WB Games. We got Take-Two Interactive. For people who don't know Take-Two Interactive, that's 2K, not Rocksteady. That's 2K, Rockstar, as well as not Gearbox, but a lot of properties. They handle a lot of publishing, big ones being 2K and Rockstar. And 2K, of course, has basically all the sports franchises, bunch of other minor stuff.
Oh, our favorite games.
The best ones.
Yeah.
They do publish Gearbox, I believe, but Gearbox says they're having their own presentation. So
but we don't care about Borderlands. We care about sports games.
Yeah, sports games. Right. Okay. They got Bandai Namco and Capcom. That are the ones we know we'll have. Devolver's sitting here. Look, Devolver will not be the determining factor of whoever wins this prediction. But I still want us to rank Devolver.
Yes, we should.
Because it's funny. There's a few things on here which, if they are off, we're gonna rank Jeff Keighley. But if you ranked Jeff Keighley poorly, that's not going to prevent you from winning the stakes. All right.
Yes, it will.
The main thing, Jeff Keighley will weigh in, but if you got some other stuff right, Jeff Keighley, he's going to be like the last thing we look at to determine the winner. All right. That's basically everything. There is one other category on here, Brett, that you may have noticed. The wild card category. You get to put one thing in the wild card category. That thing is considered as matching the final tier list no matter what. Doesn't matter what place it would be.
I thought that would be like a wild card, as in like it could go either way, but that changes everything.
No, wild card is... It's four things that could go either way, essentially. So if you have one specific show or publisher, you're like, I don't know, these guys could come out swinging, or they could just be complete trash. Toss them in wild card. It's automatically correct. All right.
Okay.
All right, Brett.
Who
do you want to start with? PC gaming show, future game show?
Yeah, we'll get those out of the way, since I admittedly don't, partially because we don't know too much about them. I don't really care too much about them. I'm not going to put too much stake in my enjoyment of them, because they were two things that happened last year as their own like separate streams.
PC
and those
gaming shows usually part of E3. Also, Brett, let me give you the category that we are ranking things by, just so you are fully aware. This is not based on announcements or hype. This is based on what is the best conference. What's the best presentation? Announcements weigh very heavily, but if they spend 3 hours with like one person wandering around the stage, that's a terrible conference, even if they showed something real cool. So,
yeah, I am weighing these all on what I believe my personal enjoyment factor is going to be for the whole thing.
See, I'm glad you made that distinction.
Yeah, I knew I was going to do it earlier. Completely forgot about it. But...
Okay. Because that changes things a little bit.
It does change things, yeah.
Yeah, both those together, I don't think anything amazing is going to be shown off, but I think there's going to be some cool. That's a big opportunity for a lot of indies to come out and be shown for the first time. A lot of things for me to look at and go, ooh, I like that art style. Ooh, I like the music. I don't think there's going to be anything too crazy, but I don't think it's going to be disappointing, because I'm not expecting much from it. So I'm gonna put those together, and I'm gonna put those in B.
B tier. All right.
Optimistic little B.
An important note here, these two are being clamped together permanently because of the fact that the future game show is a pure wild card. That show, we have no idea what to expect, so it's just being clamped to the PC gaming show because it's a double header.
That makes sense.
All right.
Now, is it Summer Game Fest?
Kickoff
I'm just looking at
Live.
things.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that the
This is Jeff
that's
Keighley's
another
big event.
okay separate from Jeff Keighley the human being?
Separate from Jeff Keighley the human being, because Jeff Keighley this is Jeff Keighley's presence around E3.
Yes.
We are judging him during the Summer Games Fest for both Summer Games Fest and himself, but take that separation as you will. There's a lot of leeway there.
Okay. We'll get there then. We'll go in order from now on.
Okay.
I saw a thing my brain didn't immediately recognize, and signals started going crazy.
Yep.
So yeah, Bandai Namco. They have some good things that are already in the works, and they have a lot of things that we have no idea about. Like we don't know too much of what they're doing besides like the handful of things that we already know that already have like trailers and stuff. I don't think too many crazy things have come out. My hope, my stretch goal is that they'll do things with like they'll continue to publish some of the FromSoft games that have supposedly been in development forever, and they might get shown off here. But I'm not gonna. I don't know, unless on the other side of the coin, unless they show something of like Tales of Arise that makes everyone be like, "Oh, this is terrible!" All of a sudden, I don't see it going too badly. So I'm gonna that's gonna be C for me. It's gonna be right down the middle.
C tier.
I don't expect
All right.
anything crazy. Yeah.
Just a reminder: you must have one S tier
Yes.
and one participation award.
I know.
And we will follow those same rules when we're creating our actual tier list, regardless of if anything actually is an S tier. We will have to pick the best one as being S tier. So.
I mean, you guys know me. I don't give a rat's ass about Gearbox or most of the things that they do. But I know that other people like them, and being in the party for when other people pop off and get really excited, that mob mentality effect gets activated, and that artificially boosts my enjoyment of whatever's happening, even if I don't enjoy it alone. So I'm gonna give that another C.
All right. Running out the middle.
Yes.
Take Two
Participation.
Interactive.
Participation.
Take Two Interactive
I don't know.
Participation. All right.
I really couldn't care less.
Okay, great.
That will be the bathroom break. That will be the getting a snack. What games does Warner Brothers Games make?
All the Batman stuff.
They would be making the Hogwarts Legacy game
if it was coming out.
Well, they are making it, but it's
yeah.
But will we see it at E3? I mean, it's the time.
They're hiring people to. They're hiring. They're hiring people to work on it specifically.
Like Alex, spirit of the competition. He's giving information to his competitors.
I appreciate
generous
it.
Man.
That being said, D, because I just don't. D for don't.
Square Enix has a lot of things that I think it's pretty set in stone that they just should show at this point. And they could also just not show them, which would bring them very far down. But I'm going to be on their side, and I'm going to say that it's going to be a very enjoyable show for the people that care about the games that they make, especially if the rumored Final Fantasy 1-6 collection comes out. I'm gonna slap that in an A.
All right, right in A.
Hey.
Capcom.
What's your feelings on Capcom?
Capcom makes a lot of games that I don't really feel anything about. I feel completely emotionless and apathetic towards Capcom.
Wow.
Harsh because words. Because they haven't made a Breath of Fire game in decades. So, a good one.
Can I ask a quick question real quick? So is this based on, and you may have cleared this up already, is this based on like our personal, like how hyped are we, or how hyped we think people in general are going
This
to be?
is what do we think us as a group will come to a consensus as the final tier list based on the conference
okay.
itself.
Because obviously like
Now that may be
what Brett
the same
finds,
thing.
what Brett thinks is hype, I might not, and vice versa. So you kind of have to find the middle ground. It's kind of what it.
Well, it's more from a general perspective of like being people in the games industry and following games. What is the most impressive like set of announcements? Who did a good job of presenting those announcements? Like, was the presentation fun to watch?
Okay.
Because like obviously we're not gonna watch all 6 hours of PC Gaming Show and Future Game Show. We'll watch like 10 minutes of it maybe, and then decide where it would go based on what the announcements are, based on the amount of time they spend talking and whatnot.
Right.
You have my
Okay.
attention for 10 minutes. Go.
I'm
Proceed.
gonna throw Capcom in C for Capcom.
All right.
I don't think they're gonna be too incredible.
Good.
Now this, just because of sheer volume of things, and just because of like how many cool things can be shown off, I think Xbox is gonna be S.
Ooh, okay.
That's got a lot of like, not even if like the things that are shown are good, I will get admittedly, like personally, so much more enjoyment if the Halo Infinite thing that they show is garbage, that I think it has the power to outweigh what everyone else thinks about it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna and like actually legitimately, I think just the amount of things that could be cool in there is just it has a lot of potential to stick it, if you
All right.
will. Now for Bethesda, there's a lot of hope riding on Bethesda. So much hope, in fact, that I think things could possibly go very wrong. And I think it's a little. This one is the tough one. This one is the landmine that could possibly go off at any moment. And just for my own safety, I'm gonna put that in the wild card territory, because I know it's just quote unquote just Bethesda, but like I mean, like, hear me out. They can show something that's going to immediately be like, oh yeah, I had faith in them the whole time. This undoes all the bad things that they did. Like, that this is great. Or they
Nothing
show
can
nothing that people
right.
wanted, and it's death. It's just the apocalypse. There's no in between. So I'm gonna save myself from that argument.
Especially because no one, like everyone, is just all eyes on Bethesda right now.
Exactly.
Because of the last couple of years.
Brett, might I add that we have a very nice you have a very nice bell curve going on here so far.
I do. um, I see. I'm looking into my crystal ball. I can see my enjoyment for Nintendo Direct is going to consist of Flatline, and then someone in the room I'm watching with is going to really enjoy the Smash reveal, and that's going to be the one heartbeat for that whole time.
Wow, that is the harshest Nintendo Direct take I think I've heard in a long time.
Well, because I don't have a Switch.
I mean, that's
and
fair.
I don't have a desire to get one, because
That's fair.
the games that I play are on other things instead. The games, of course, that I'm referring to being Daemon Ex Machina and nothing else.
Hey, Brett, you gotta play Xenoblade at some point.
I know I do. I will get to it after I finish obliterating Xenosaga. But I don't think it's going to be bad. I think it's just not going to be super enjoyable for me. I think there's a lot of things in it for other people. So I'm going to put it at a B.
Yeah.
And I think Treehouse can go with it, just because there's that potential level. But I don't think it's going to be incredible.
What is your definition for the participation again? Is that just below
That is
bad
the
and
worst
Okay.
presentation.
Okay. I thought that
They
was
were there,
more
and that
like,
was it.
okay. I thought that was more like they were there, they didn't make an impact. Not they were there
I mean,
and
yeah.
they couldn't have done anything worse.
Yeah, it's the worst. We have to
Okay.
give them some credit for being present at E3. That is the only thing we can give them credit for. That's the award. All right, Brett, how are you feeling about the rest of this? Ubisoft Forward is probably the one you want to tackle first, I would assume, because it's the last actual press conference.
I mean, D. I don't know. There's nothing.
That's exactly. You know what? That is exactly where I
Yep.
expected that to go. That's
I know.
great.
I'm so predictable. I'm sorry, but I just don't. Not only is I don't think it's going to be the worst thing ever, but there's not a lot in there that I think is going to wow me or anyone else because I feel like it's getting to the point where it's just like they have the Ubisoft formula of making kind of the same thing again and
Also,
again.
what
with a
else are they
different-
going to show? They've shown a lot of their stuff
Exactly.
already.
That's what I've been thinking.
Because
Reused
even if
footage
we
of
like
Far
what
Cry
they're
6.
showing, if it's stuff we've all seen already, there's not a ton of excitement.
Yeah. Devolver. I'm usually a stick in the mud when it comes to Devolver
Alright.
things. I usually don't find them that funny, but
How do you think the
it's
conglomerate will feel?
I think the conglomerate, as usual, will enjoy them. So I'm gonna, yeah, throw them up with Square Enix. I think
Gotta have
it'll
that
be a fun
perfect
time.
curve.
All right. We'll leave. Do you want to leave E3 as a whole or Jeff Keighley for last?
We'll leave E3 for last because Jeff Keighley is a part of E3.
Okay. Good logic.
Yes. And Summer Games Fest is Jeff Keighley's own little,
Well,
you go into
precious
his
boy.
dungeon and he shows you what he has in his dungeon. Just because it's just like a show of Jeff and he's just like he's a good host. He usually knows when things are boring as hell and he tries his best not to do them. So I'm gonna put that as B.
All right.
Put Jeff in S. Just put
All
him
right.
up there.
Yeah, Jeff breaks all rules. We don't need to listen to rules with him. So
I mean, this is following all the rules. I mean, he's just I can't even.
well, S
Jeff,
you can only
Jeff
have
for
one
president.
S for the actual
Oh.
conferences.
Okay, I thought you meant we had to have an S.
Oh no, you get
not only have
there is
one.
one S
Okay.
tier. That is the best conference, and there is one participation award. That is
I
the worst
see.
one.
Okay, well then
But
in
Jeff-
the interest of
Jeff is breaking the rules though. That's fine. Jeff can go wherever he wants.
okay, I was gonna say you can put him in A, but in front of Square Enix if that was gonna make you happier.
No,
But,
Jeff can go where he wants. He is intelligent. He's his own man.
He's self-serving. And
He
I
just
think
wanders about the list.
I'm gonna be optimistic because we didn't have
And I'll
E3
add
last
E3
year.
is the same way of with E3 and Jeff, you don't need to follow the rules because they're
Okay.
not conferences. So you can go S or participation award. You think it's going to be really bad. For
That makes
E3, we're
sense.
comparing it to all E3s that have been done. Where is it ranking? High tier, low tier?
Oh,
I think because of the fact that there wasn't one last year and everyone was like, oh no E3, but all the things that were in E3 happened anyway, pretty much just spread out over the year. I think it's going to be nice to have it all in one like stacked little week.
All right.
And I think the good things are going to outweigh the myriad of inevitable bad things. I'm going to put it yeah, screw it, put it in A. I think it's going to be a fun time.
All right, Brett being pretty generous. How are you feeling about this? Any final changes you want to make?
It'll ruin the perfect curve, but I think maybe in retrospect I would move Bandai Namco up one.
Up one, B tier.
I feel a little bad putting them.
Curve. What have you done?
I'm sorry. Well, now it's your job to
Being
preserve
optimistic.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think companies know that it's been a bit since we've had this kind of like symbol of normalcy in the gamosphere, whether that's a good or a bad thing. So they're just going to try to kind of knock it out of the park as best as they can.
All right. Well, I'm gonna transition back to the normal bit while I clear the board and make sure this is saved so that we have a proper record of Brett's picks. Any discussion on Brett's picks after that? How's everyone feeling?
I think this represents Brett quite well. I'll put it that
I was
way.
going to say he
Good.
explained everything well.
Yeah, no,
I don't think
it's
there's something to discuss.
no. It's. I mean, obviously, I may not agree with all the placings, but I think I think he did give like pretty fair arguments to where everything should be. So Yeah, I have nothing interesting to say other than seems good to me.
I guess a warning for mine is regardless of the fact that this is, I guess, somewhat personal, somewhat what we think the consensus will be. Um, my mind is completely blanking on who Jeff Keighley is because I just don't think he's
Alex.
had an impact in my
Alex.
life.
Alex.
The host of the Game
What?
Awards.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't ring a bell.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
that's so sad.
Clearly isn't a real gamer. He doesn't know who Jeff is.
You're on a gaming pod.
All right, because whenever I reset it,
I'll
it's
go-
gonna- we got
Yeah, and I'm
one.
ready to be crucified. What of it?
I can go next, by the way.
All right.
If Alex
Wyatt has
doesn't feel
offered.
strongly about it.
I don't feel strongly about Jeff Keighley. I feel strongly about other things.
I mean, that's fair.
You know what? I kind of.
alright.
I think I want Alex's take. Either last or second to last, Alex. Where are you feeling? What's your presentational feeling? Where I go will change something. I need to know when to trigger a thing.
God.
I'll do second to last, then I'll go after
Okay,
Wyatt.
so I'll round it out at the end. All right, I did the inspect element last time to remove all the things, but when I reset it, it puts it back. So you're gonna have to deal with the Facebook button there. But
I trust in your anchoring skills.
here we go. Okay,
All right.
what do you want to start out with?
Let's just go in the order that it's in already. I'm fine with that. Bandai Namco. Personally, there isn't anything in their repertoire that is super interesting to me, but I do know they've got a lot of heavy hitters. So I'm gonna put it.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it at B. And also it doesn't really come to mind what their presentation style is like, because I'm also kind of weighting those as well. It's like I think they're going to be announcing, and also how slick their shows are.
And the other thing to add here is because most of these we know are doing a showcase. Some of them, the E3 says they're doing a showcase. I'm not fully confident they are, based on the fact that there aren't times for some of these yet. So if Bandai Namco just shows up in other conferences, we will not be weighing where they are on this list in the final list to determine who gets the stakes, you know? Just because it doesn't make sense at that point because they're not doing their own show. So don't worry, if they don't do a show, you're not being penalized. All right.
Gotcha. Gearbox, I can't recall, because I've been looking it up on the side while Brett was going. I can't recall when the last time they've had an actual E3 conference where they showed off a lot of stuff. So I'm basing this off of when they announced Borderlands 3. So it's a bit of a weird, kind of rough, not really working kind of show. I just don't think they're going to have a lot of interesting stuff to show off. I think we're too far away. Yeah. I don't think they're going to be announcing anything for anything too big for something like Risk of Rain. I don't think we're going to be seeing anything Borderlands related anytime soon. So I'm going to put them at a D.
All right. Going on take two.
Yeah. They do have Rockstar, so there could be something big there.
And 2K's got got Firaxis and some other devs. It's not just sports games. So.
But I also have to keep in mind, we're not interested in sports games, but if I'm looking at how everyone's going to react to it as a whole, there are going to be a lot of sports games fans that are going to be happy. So I'm going to put it at a C.
C tier. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Leaving room for potential that there might be some cool Rockstar stuff. All right. I think Xbox's conference is going to be this conference is going to be their Falcon Punch. I feel like they've been building up for a couple years, and this show, they're going to show off some crazy stuff because they have a lot of studios that is working on a lot of different things, a lot of studios that people care about, a lot of franchises people care about. And so I think they're going to come out the gate just absolutely just taking names.
Yes,
so I'm going to put them at S tier.
The Xbox includes Obsidian, right?
Yes, it includes Obsidian.
And I'll also note that they usually have super slick looking presentations.
They do.
They have really nice black and blue aesthetic. They have good
world
camera
premiere.
work. They have the world premiere guy.
After everything world
They
premiere.
got Phil. They got my boy Phil, who I love dearly. They had Keanu Reeves one year, so that helped as well. Yeah, I think Xbox is gonna be really strong this year.
All right.
Nintendo. I haven't really been the biggest fan of Nintendo up until the last couple of years. It's really when I got a Switch that I started kind of getting into their franchises more. But even then, there's not a whole lot of franchises personally that I'm like super interested in. There's a couple, but a lot of them I can just do with or without. But I mean, they're probably gonna be showing off a ton of Zelda stuff. Directs are always super to the point, super polished, nice looking. But I just don't think there's going to be quite as many things coming out of it that I'm personally interested. But I know a lot of other people are going to. So I'm gonna put him at an A.
All right, A tier. Are you
Just
keeping the
because of
treehouse with it?
Zelda. Yeah.
All right.
Right next to it. See, I really like Brett's reasoning with Bethesda. I kind of want to come back to them, but I'm
You
in
can-
a very
you can do
similar
that.
boat to Brett is. Yeah, I'm gonna come back to them.
Okay.
Capcom. Again, I don't really give a crap about Capcom. It's not that they don't make good stuff. It's just that usually it's stuff that I'm not super interested in.
Same, yeah.
You don't give a
and-
Capcom?
And also because I'm not super familiar with their stuff, I don't know like what we're expecting, like what kind of cycle we're in with them, like what we're expecting right now.
All right.
So I'm gonna put them in C just because I don't really know. Devolver, they either have really good stuff to show off or they have a really funny show, and sometimes they have both. But it's usually one of the three.
Yeah.
Because I think that they had some cool stuff to show off last year, but I don't think their like show was particularly as funny as the other ones.
Yeah, I remember we watched it and it was a little bit of a miss with the humor occasionally.
It kept going sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put them at a B because even then, like they had Shadow Warrior 3, they had a Carry On stuff. Like they had some good stuff. Jeff S tier. Do I even need to explain myself?
Great.
Do I even need to explain myself?
Solid
Maybe
pick.
to Alex. Apparently.
Yeah, you
but,
do. Why? Why, Wyatt?
Because he's a god. Okay, it's Jeff. I really, you know what? No, I don't need to explain to you because it's Jeff, and you should.
He
just
holds
know.
the Elden Ring.
Hostage.
What's that one next to Bethesda?
Future game show, PC gaming show.
Oh, okay, that goes together. Presentation style. Ryan and I think we were there one year, and it was like they just kept going on, and they had like, here's a game, and then here's a developer that talks about exactly what you just saw, and so the show was very boring. But they had a lot of cool stuff to show off.
Yep.
And just because the amount of stuff that they're showing off, they have to have some cool stuff in there. Like, there's no way that they're not going to show off some cool games. So I'm gonna put them at a C.
D tier for those two. All right. How you feeling about Square?
Square. They're probably gonna have some Final Fantasy. What are we at? 16 stuff to show off, which I think is going to be exciting for some people. I remember their presentation style being pretty interesting. I remember one year there were like different like stained glass windows that they would go to show off different things, or it was something along those lines that was pretty interesting. But in general, not a whole lot of stuff that I'm interested in. I'll put them. Yeah, I'll put them in C.
Okay.
My C's getting a very, very lengthy here.
That's
Getting
fine.
A very nice
Wyatt.
boot.
What have you done to the curve?
C is
He's making a
academically
boot.
average. So you're doing right.
Games Fest. I don't know anything about Games Fest. I don't.
The only information any of us have about the kickoff live, there might be more information out there, but I can guarantee you the only thing any of us have looked up is that it's Jeff Keighley's show. He said there's gonna be a bunch of announcements. That's about all we know.
But I'm even trying to think of like past shows. I don't know. D.
D. All right.
Oof.
D. Excuse me, Jeff. You know I love you, but
No, Wyatt.
the only reason.
Taking me with this vote.
He also
I
gave
love
us Fast and Furious as the title announcement at One Game Awards.
Not by choice. He was forced.
Not by
to.
choice, but still, it happened.
Yes, that's correct. Ubisoft Forward. Their presentations are usually pretty slick. They have the Just Dance bits, which always make me laugh in a very ironic kind of way. But I really just don't think they're going to be bringing much in terms of. I just don't think they have a lot of fun stuff to show off. So I'll put them in D. Honestly, I just don't think they're going to have a lot of interesting stuff to show off this year.
Make the boot. Make the boot.
Oh yeah, I have all these other things I need to fill out here. Hold on. I keep forgetting about wildcard and participation.
How you
WB.
feel? What's your thought process for WB?
Yeah. Gotham Knights. Is anyone really hyped for Gotham Knights? Is anyone really?
I liked what I saw,
excited?
but like we saw it already. It's there.
As soon as I saw that there was like leveling and like all these numbers and stuff, I got worried. I don't know.
I'm somewhat interested in it when it comes out.
I don't know. Nothing I've seen has.
Don't forget they have Suicide Squad as well in the cooker.
Oh, the Suicide Squad game. That's right.
WB's got a number of games cooking. We just don't know the state of most of them.
Right. Oh, don't they also own NetherRealms?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so I mean, they might be working on something next. What's next? They did Mortal Kombat, so next would be Injustice or maybe something else. I'll put them in C. I don't know. There's potential there.
Boots ruined.
Oh.
Yeah. So for Bethesda, I don't know. I kind of want to give them a little bit more credit than Wildcard, but just because
Wildcard is whatever. That's you don't want to know where to put them.
No, I get that, but like, yeah, no, Wildcard, that makes the most sense, to be honest with you. And then E3 as a whole, I don't know. I mean, the fact that they haven't been able to, give us definite times on when things are and stuff is pretty annoying. I'll be honest with you.
That's true.
Yeah, the lead up's been definitely a little weird.
Also,
though, is that E3's fault or the devs' fault? That's my thing. It's probably publishers' fault and not E3.
The devs together are E3, aren't they?
By default, I'm going to put it on E3 because I feel like they would have been like, if
they
you
are the
want
ones
a
presenting
thing
the
at
show.
E3, if you want a thing at E3, you have to give us time so we can tell it to people.
True.
And if they just mandate that, they should have. So, I'm gonna put him in D.
All right.
Now, I didn't put anything in participation award. Do I have to?
You do have to have a participation award. That is what conference you think will be the worst.
Gearbox.
All right. Good picks. Feel comfortable? Feel happy with this? Last minute changes?
Let me see here. Yeah, no, I think that's pretty good.
All right. Go back to the cams while I save and clear the board.
I really do think like Microsoft is going to be really strong this year.
Totally.
Like,
yeah.
I'm really excited, honestly. Like whether it's like legitimately good or like ironically funny and good, I think it's either way we're gonna benefit.
Because what you've been saying like over and over again for the past like few months is that like they are in the getting ready period. They've
got something cooking. They've got some things in the oven.
They're ready to blow.
Even like visually representing that, I said it before, but like how they've kind of stuck with like the same group of indies, and for the last like few years of shows, they've shown like the progression of their development. I think now's the time that they're supposed to come out anyway. So
it would
make
excited.
sense.
And again, their shows always look super slick.
Oh yeah,
I'll say that again. They're wonderful.
All right, Alex.
Question that I had about that, because I'm either forgetting what you're lumping this in with or not getting. What is the Guerrilla Collective in with? Because
Guerrilla Collective is not part of this. They are their own little thing before E3.
It's on the E3 schedule, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like an indie show.
Gearbox.
Guerrilla Collective is this weird little scenario that I don't want to mess with. I don't want to touch that with a template. It's in with other studios, like the 24 thing, and just studios that are super unpredictable. There's just no way I think we can put that somewhere, because it's Guerrilla Collective, it's related to Guerrilla, but they're not the ones doing any of the games, and it's a bunch of weird indie stuff. There have been good things before. It's also just been a bunch of announcements that we already knew about, so it's a conference that I would not count as the upper echelon of conferences. If anything, I think it would be rated the exact same as the PC Gaming Show and Future Game Show, wherever we put it. All right. What do you want to start with, Alex?
I'm not really sure about Bandai Namco because I also just don't remember much from them. Yeah, unfortunately, I think most of my ratings are going to be based off of my Goldfish memory.
Hey, that's fine.
But
if they didn't leave a lasting impact on you, that's may say something about how
Yeah.
you feel about them. So that's fine.
yeah, I'll come back to Bandai.
All
I
right.
guess see if it. Gearbox was so they're Borderlands. They are what else?
Basically just Borderlands.
Oh, okay.
They also technically published Risk of Rain 2, but
that
yeah,
it's
we
what-
don't know
we're
what to
looking at.
expect.
But what we're looking at here for them is, I guess, possibly either some type of new IP that they haven't talked about, or
More Borderlands.
Yeah. And C.
What was
C,
it?
just based
C?
C.
Okay.
Yeah. Just based on that, based on, how the overall reception, I think, for Borderlands was, or at least 3 was not too good to my recollection.
3?
So yeah.
Oh, I thought 3 was great.
I mean, general reception was
writing
the
was-
game was fun, but the writing was terrible.
The writing was
Mm.
awful, but I mean, the gameplay is so good.
All right, take 2, Alex. Where are you feeling?
Uh,
How you feeling about sports games?
Participation.
Participation. All
Absolutely
right.
participation.
They got
No
Rockstar too.
question about it. Yeah, even with Rockstar, I mean, it's
Okay.
I really heavily doubt there's going to be GTA 6 news.
All right.
And then with that, it's just either Red Dead Redemption Online things, which, and Grand Theft Auto Online things, which also, at this point, there's been too many expansions to care about anymore.
All right.
For that.
You going straight to Xbox?
Xbox S, of course. They have too many things to not be good, and like you're saying, just the general polish of how they present the horde of goodies that they could unleash here, especially with the studios that they have amassed. Like I guess now, I feel like I should lump in Bethesda with Xbox, but I can't because it's just one S, right? But then also I have some separate things about Bethesda that don't really make it.
And there's the important note with Bethesda is because it's saying the Xbox and Bethesda show, we're assuming that Bethesda is going to be pretty easily distinguishable what part of that is theirs and what part of that's Xbox's. If it's not, we'll just lump them together under Xbox, but if they are distinguishable, they'll remain separate.
All right. Yeah, Xbox absolutely the highest of tiers. Bethesda, I love them, but D.
All right.
Ooh. Wow.
Harsh to Todd Howard.
I love God Howard. Well,
there you go.
No, I love Bethesda and most of their. I love their IPs. I don't love what they've done with them.
Good way of putting it.
I think that, especially with they have milked Skyrim for so long. That's unacceptable. It's just gotten so tired on the udders at this point.
Dude, Skyrim's been out.
Milking.
The gap between Skyrim and whatever
Morrowind.
next game's gonna be is now larger than the gap between Skyrim and Morrowind.
Yeah, keep in mind that Oblivion came out between those two games.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been.
How you feeling about Nintendo?
It's gotten so tiring with Oh, I'm not done with Bethesda.
Oh,
yet.
You're not done yet. Keep going by all means.
I'm not done with Bethesda yet. I think there's that, and I think just the atrocities that they have committed with 76 have not been undone yet, and I don't think they can be undone with any future announcements for that.
Speaking of someone who's played 76 with a friend, it is an atrocity.
76 is a participation award of a game.
Yeah. Even with all the fixes that they've done, there is no No Man's Sky comeback for 76. I think that is absolutely out of the question.
And Ryan and I played it with the apparent fixes. We played it after the.
It required me to do like an hour of bug fixing to get the game to launch. It was that bad.
And then another hour of just nothing.
With that, I think the new. Oh God, I'm blanking on the space game name. Starfield. I don't think it's going to be too groundbreaking of a game. I think it's just going to be, something for Bethesda people to quench their thirst with somewhat, but it's not going to be fulfilling at all to play. And I even more heavily doubt that there's going to be any Elder Scrolls 6 news. I hope there is, but everything in me is screaming that there isn't going to be, and I'm just too disappointed in them to say anything otherwise.
All right.
That's it for Bethesda now.
How you feeling about Nintendo?
Pretty meh to okay. I mean, they do good quality stuff, but it's nothing that I'm personally interested in right now. I'd put both that and the Treehouse at B. I think the Treehouse in general would be a little bit more interesting for me to watch, just because it's
more
typically,
gameplay.
as you guys were saying, it's just pure gameplay after gameplay after gameplay, and I think I can actually gain some interest in things from that rather than people hyping things up.
All right.
It's just the content. Capcom.
Good answer.
Yeah.
I think that says it all right there.
Yeah, nothing that I'm really interested in. Their IPs can be fun to look at visually, but I'm not really interested in their games or mechanics. So D, and I also don't really think that they have a D.
Oh, D. You're going D? Wow.
Or I don't know, D or C, because they.
Which one do you want to pick?
Think they're
D or C?
You're talking to the resident Capcom stan here.
I would have picked participation award if the participation award was they were there, they were inoffensive, like they were just present. It's
all
not
right,
that they did a
so leave them in D.
So I'd say I'd say C.
C, not D.
Yeah, pretty.
All right.
Just middle of the board. They'll
be present. Nothing's really going to change. All right.
Yeah.
Where you want to go next?
Why am I blanking on Devolver?
They do the weird directs.
How do you?
Where they like stab people on stage and have monsters come out and eat their.
They make fun of how corporate E3 is, and sometimes it's funny.
Oh, A then. If it's just for the presentation,
they also have good games to show off too. Like that's the other thing.
Regardless of what their games are, and I know I just said that I know I just said this with Treehouse, where it's just like it's not the people trying to present the games, it's just the content. But if the presentation is good, like that, then A.
It's hit and miss, but yeah.
E3 overall, I think Xbox is going to be able to carry this really far, so I'm going to say B overall.
All right. B tier E3. I like the gumption.
Other than that, I think it's going to be somewhat average.
How you feeling about your boy?
If you don't put my boy on S tier, I swear to God.
Swear then, Wyatt.
Where are you putting him?
I will make you beg.
You guys keep. He does not make an impression on me. I do not remember him from things, but you guys keep on saying about how amazing a presenter he is. So
well, look, I totally didn't put him on S just as a complete meme. I don't know what you're talking about.
if he's a predominant personality through a very entertaining part of it, then hey, if he has been for years prior, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be this year.
A rank for the Keels. All right, the
Yep.
Keelster.
Not Sorry, I'm out. I'm out. See ya. Sorry, I can't do this.
How you feel about PC
it's good
Gaming
that-
Show, Future Games Show?
C, average. I think that they can either have some meh that's their content or pretty interesting things, but I do remember something that has stuck with me through these guys has just been the length that they go on for, and I think that drags down my excitement for it. Like they can have something really interesting at the end, but then I'm just kind of spent from the rest of it because for some reason I decide not to take breaks and just watch it all the way through, and that's not a good idea.
How you feeling about Square Enix?
A.
A?
Yeah.
All right.
I think
it.
They have a lot of nuts stored up from the winter, and they're ready to unleash.
I like the gumption. All right. Summer Game Fest kickoff live. How's the Keelster gonna start out E3?
Apparently not at S tier.
How is this all gonna start off? I'm hoping for a strong start, not like okay, off to the races. I don't know if any of my sound effects are making it through my mic.
It didn't, but I imagined them.
No, we can imagine the wonderful
balloon.
sound effects.
It was a deflating balloon fart noise. Hey, I'd like to imagine.
All right. Believe in the Keelster. How you thinking Ubisoft is gonna show up?
Ubisoft. I'm thinking they're gonna be a little bit below average. So that'd probably be D. I mean, there's Ubisoft games. There's gonna be stuff like Assassin's Creed Valhalla DLC and things like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure we can expect a ton of new stuff from them right now.
Yeah, it feels like pulp at this point.
Yep. All right. Where are you putting WB or Bandai?
Villager noises. Oh God, Warner Bros. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, since they were talking about the delay, I don't think there's gonna be any Hogwarts Legacy news. That was their main driving point for me. The Gotham boys and girls. Interesting, but like I said, I'll be more interested in it once it's out instead of listening to people hype it up.
Okay.
Samoa Joe is playing the shark. This is a fact.
True.
Oh.
True fact.
Oh.
The only stake I have in that game is that.
And you know what? I also enjoy numbers coming out of people.
Oh. That's
a
contentious statement.
Hey, I'm with him. I like seeing the numbers pop out.
I like seeing numbers come out of people.
Especially when you guys beat the numbers out of me. So
together, I think that's gonna land it at around a C. It's gonna be pretty average.
All right.
There's some things that I'm missing and some things that I'll be somewhat excited for. Bandai Namco, because they still aren't ringing a single bell for me.
Dark Souls, any Gundam game.
Hey, Alex, you got a wild card slot left open. You don't have to worry about them.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be wild card because I mean, Brett, I love Gundam games, but I have not seen a good one that I wanted to play.
When was the last time a good Gundam game came out in the West?
Gundam Breaker 3. Which you can only get if you buy it off of
So that didn't come out in the West.
Yeah, like Philippine Amazon or something.
Oh God!
How you feeling about this
still
list,
English,
Alex?
so it works.
Is this tickling your jimmies perfectly? Your keelster is just right at the right frequency, ready to go.
I mean, he's not. He's too low.
I'm not sure if my jimmies have been tickled. They have definitely been caressed by the breeze.
Okay.
And it's a pleasant breeze.
Oh.
All right. Which means I'm going to go to this while I save the image.
Brett, where's your little mallet when we need it?
I actually don't know. It got lost in transit. It's gone.
Oh no!
You need to keep us in line,
mallet.
Brett. What have you done?
The bonk banhammer is gone.
The bonk banhammer.
Yeah, maybe we just lost it. All right, you guys hold the conversation for a moment while I get the props.
Oh, that's big
Boy,
shoes to fill.
Boy, how about that Alex's Keeley ranking, huh? What a weird guy.
I can't believe he put him so low. Who could possibly believe Jeff Keighley?
What an asshole.
Uh,
Ryan, what are you doing?
I'm scared. He's pacing.
He's moving things behind the curtain.
Is he putting his hair up? He's getting ready.
Now this is the man. Now I will say this is the man. During we had to give presentations on various aspects of design. He did his on melee combat, and he came dressed up as Solid Snake with a box and everything. It was wonderful. So I'm a little concerned.
Is he getting his Oh my god,
That's a Ravenclaw scarf. What the hell is going on?
He's ready.
Why does he have the Milwaukee hat? What is this?
And it's a fedora.
It's Watch Dogs time. It's Watch Dogs time.
Christ.
You can't have both. You can't have both.
You cannot equip more than one head armor slot. Oh god, he's done it.
Man, that's such a look for you.
All right. This is incredibly difficult to maneuver. Let's get this.
What have you become?
What is happening right now?
All right. Let me tell you.
Become the one true Redditor.
Double M Radio, it's become scuffed. These are the stakes. At the end of today, I want everyone here in a secret envelope sealing a sentence. That sentence will start with 001 Radio will become. You get one word to put in the next. Those are the stakes, and we will adapt to the winner.
Oh my god.
What?
Oh no.
We change the theming of the show if we win.
Oh god.
I leave you to decide what that means.
Oh my
but if I win, 001 Radio is becoming scuffed.
Oh.
I hope you're ready.
What is scuffed?
I'll leave that to you to imagine.
I'll leave that to Urban Dictionary. You've got to figure that out yourself.
Oh god.
All right. Let's get this tier list started. I don't know why I'm slipping into that accent.
Go for it. No,
right.
Go for it.
You know what? Keelster, A tier. I put him in S, but
see how it is.
My scuffed heart recognizes that the Keelster tends to make mistakes. He's had some boring presentations before, and he's tried to carry it, and then he gets on and on about sponsor deals. And Summer Games Fest says presented by Amazon Prime, and that doesn't give me a lot of faith.
Oh.
Which means I'm lumping Summer Games Fest in the B tier. I think it'll be a good showcase. You know what? C tier. Good showcase to start out with, but not great. All right.
Wyatt, you've completely misled me with your sarcasm. I don't know how to read people. Oh no! Oh, I've completely misranked things.
You've ranked them according to your heart. That's good enough for the Scuffed podcast.
Oh no!
All right. In the Scuffed version of
Ryan.
E3, Xbox, we're going to put Xbox in S for now, because I believe firmly that they need to be in S for their financial reports. Okay?
Yeah.
I think Xbox has had not a rough year, but a lot of their Halo has put them back. And that means they got to come out swinging at E3. Cyberpunk put them back. There's a lot of things that Xbox has shown off before that haven't been going well for them.
They've spent billions on acquiring Bethesda, only to turn it into a unit of measurement.
It means I gotta pop my collar and
Oh
believe
god.
that they have to be S tier. This isn't out of fanmanship, knowing they'll be S tier. This is me believing they will be S tier. All right. Devolver, they're going right in B tier. It's going to be refreshing to get a Devolver Direct. They're not going to show anything too crazy off, but it'll be entertaining the entire time, if a little bit boring at moments because of the fact that they're doing a joke too long. That's the worst thing that's going to happen.
They're either entertaining because they always have something fun to show off, or they're just being a bunch of goofy weirdos. There's always one or the other happening.
Scuffed, Wyatt. Scuffed.
It's scuffed. All right. All you non-believers with Capcom. All you fools have forgotten Capcom DMC5. Most of the fighting games that get produced, they make some A-tier stuff, but they're my wild card. And here's why. Because they could come out swinging with Dragon's Dogma 2, but Xbox might have that. They could come out swinging with so many things, but they might be in other conferences. That's my thing. I think Capcom's going to have a good year, but they may not be at their own conference. All right.
Okay.
Bethesda, C tier. You know what? D tier. Bethesda's going to be... They're going to show off some... No, C tier. All right, here's my logic. Todd Howard is going to be such a scuffed individual that it will be impossible to take this presentation seriously.
You know, he was part of the chess club.
I won't be able to take anything that comes out of his mouth seriously anymore after he failed to apologize last year for he failed to do anything, you know, in the last century. I'm being a little scuffed towards Todd Howard, but that's because I'm scuffed right now. So
this is your scuffed Sona, and I don't know what to think about it.
It's a scuffed year. It's time for the scuffed version of 001 to come out.
Oh god.
The most middle of the board show there is, PC Gaming Show, Future Game Show. And that's because these two, they always show, like, you know what? These are D tier. These are proper D tier presentations, and that they're not so bad. But they're going to show like 3 things that are interesting, and all of them will have heard about before. And then it'll be like 6 hours of gameplay and journalists talking to each other. I don't want to watch that. I make that show and I don't want to watch it. So they got problems, all right? I love the heart, but I'm scuffed right now and I don't have the belief. All right. Ubisoft, same. D tier. Nothing they can show at this point is enough to redeem them. There's gonna be some shenanigans. There might be a dance or two. That's gonna be it for the interesting things. The rest is just gonna be Ubisoft. Just being Ubisoft. A lot of DLC.
Right. Imagine the potential of having rabbits on the stage dancing with them, going wah.
You know what? C tier.
S tier.
C tier on the off chance that Mario makes an appearance with the rabbits.
So wait. These rabbits.
That was so scuffed.
Are you proposing that they are on the stage in a physical manner and people in costumes?
Or no, they got real rabbits.
Or that they are rabbits.
No, rabbits are real.
Rabbits are a thing.
They got them.
Or that they are 3D hologrammed in.
Oh my god. That they're
Ubisoft's gonna do
on.
it. Ubisoft is gonna do it.
God.
What do you think?
There's so much potential.
Okay. Participation award is going to Gearbox. And my reasoning is as follows. Even if they come out swinging with a Borderlands thing, that's it. What else are they going to do? Nothing. They're the only people at this show who can only present like one thing.
One trick pony,
If there's anything the past has shown us, it's that if it's not Borderlands, no one cares what Gearbox makes.
Like, what else is Gearbox going to do?
I don't like that statement, but it's true.
They're even under the Take-Two umbrella. I don't get why they're here. I don't know why they've decided to separate themselves. It makes no sense. Even if they show that Tiny Tina's Wonderland weird thing that they were talking about, I don't know. I think people are justifiably on the watch after Borderlands 3 being a little bit of a disappointment in the narrative department. I think there's some risks here where Gearbox has not put out many great games the past few years. Borderlands 3 been good, but then they made the decision to not have any character DLC. And that's a killer for Borderlands. That is an absolute killer. So they are the participation award. Take-Two Interactive, C tier. All right, sports games, I gotta give it to them. They look good. They push the graphical boundaries. All right, and that gets some credit in my book. They do.
I want to scuff you in a second. Jeez.
Yeah, hold on.
They do.
Are you being serious?
Scuff you
about
into
this?
atoms.
Are you scuffing all of us?
We
or are
are
you actually serious?
rendering individual sweat on the pores of the player's skin.
We've been doing that since Gatorade commercials, Ryan.
We are
don't
rendering
understand.
the individual sweat on the player's skin.
Coming from a character.
Did you realize that sports games are the games that probably reuse the most amount of assets year to year of any other type of
before
any
this
other thing you've
podcast,
ever
I
seen?
was playing WWE 2K19, and let me tell you, I saw Lacey Evans skate across the floor like a figure skater.
I saw Samoa Joe with a robot arm, and he knocked me out in one.
Let me tell you, I was having a great time. So, we're gonna continue with this tier list the way that I want to continue with it. All right.
Oh God.
So you know what, DT? Because let me tell you my logic. My scuffed heart is crying right now. So Take-Two, they Rockstar is under their umbrella, and Rockstar, I think people are insane when they're saying Rockstar is going to show something this year, but they might, and that means even if they do show something, Take-Two is going to be disappointing because they don't know how to show games right. It's just going to be a disappointing teaser trailer. So even then, D tier. All right, moving on. Bandai Namco. Look, let me tell you, we're doing a fantasy games league here. Fantasy games league, I have like 4 Bandai Namco games in that list. Tales of Arise, I would have Dragon's Dogma 2 if it existed. Well, that's Capcom, not Bandai. You know what? Bandai, never mind. I would put them in B tier because I think they're going to be... I don't think their games are for everyone, but I think their presentation will be solid in a way that most of the other presentations aren't. I think they're going to be concise. It's not going to be a lot of people wasting time, and that buys a lot of points in my book. You look at the PC gaming show, they're probably going to have a similar number of interesting games to show as Bandai Namco, but their presentation will be infinitely more of a slog to watch. That's my logic.
I love how Ryan has a whole thing for this, but he's probably the most indecisive person out of all 4 of us.
No, that's the scuffed heart.
This is great.
That's the scuffed mode.
That's what being scuffed is like.
This is what scuffed is like. You gotta understand. You gotta realize that the tiers may not line up exactly where you thought they would. Alright, E3 2021. Now, I think what's gonna happen, I would put it in S. I think people are wanting an E3 real bad after last year. But there's no crowds. Alright, and if watching wrestling has told me anything, it's that crowd, integral to the experience. I think to E3, when the crowd reacted to Keanu Reeves, that will not happen this year, and that limits E3 to being a B.
And don't forget about they're not posting times for everyone, and that's very annoying.
It's super annoying to organize. I'm gonna be on the road recording scuffed presentations the entire time. I'm sorry, E3.
Are we gonna be getting this character the entire time you're on the road?
What character?
This is me now.
Oh no!
This is what being scuffed is like.
Guys, I think running 001 has snapped Ryan's brain.
No, it's scuffed it.
I've been scuffed, and let me tell you,
it's polished it into a smooth, shiny ball.
We gotta continue the presentations. Nintendo.
Oh God.
Nintendo people are bleeding for a Nintendo Direct, let me tell you. Now, I think Nintendo's going to come out swinging and cement themselves as an A-tier presentation just because nothing else will compare. I would swap them with Xbox for S-tier, but I think people get so hyped over Nintendo that no matter what Nintendo pulls out, no matter how many crazy things they have, how many cool indies they got, people are going to be disappointed because they get too hyped. So, people are going to be disappointed no matter what with Nintendo, but that 40-minute Direct is going to be pure games. Maybe one Bowser joke in there. Pure games, though. We're not going to have people trouncing around on stage, doing these weird things. Nintendo knows how to make a direct. They're the only company here with the experience required to make a pandemic-friendly E3 presentation, and that goes a long way in my books. All right. We're to WB Games and Square Enix. We're going to leave Square Enix to last. WB Games, they were my second choice for Wildcard, and I really think they're going to be a solid, like, C-tier presentation in that they've got fun stuff to show, but it's stuff we've either seen before, or it's stuff that just isn't that exciting, but it's not going to be a bad presentation. It's going to be like the Hogwarts thing last year. It's not a bad presentation, it's just not that exciting because it's so far off, you know? I think that's going to be the case with them. Alright, Square Enix. Square Enix, this is where things get interesting. Now I think Square Enix solidly in the top 2. Because Square Enix has got some great properties in the back. Final Fantasy XIV can pull in a crowd on its own. Square tends to have good presentations that don't go on too long. They do like a musical number or two, get my scuffed heart pumping, and then they go back to doing their games. They gave us Ghostwire Tokyo, and that goes a long way in my books. They gave us Akumi Nakamura. That's a big give. So you know what's going to happen here is they're going to be S tier and Xbox A tier.
Oh my god, what an
Square
upset.
Enix going to be the S tier presentation. And let me tell
Brian, you've not disappointed on the scuff.
Square Enix.
Oh my
Square
god, it's
Enix,
Square Enix with a steel chair.
Square Enix is going to come out swinging with something. We know that the Neo team is working on a Final Fantasy game. We know there are a bunch of projects in the works. We know that Eidos Montreal is working on some fancy things. We know what's going to happen. But that just reminded me of the scuffed fact that Eidos Montreal is the title presenter for this presentation, which now has me doubting that we're going to see as many Final Fantasy things as before. So they're going back to A tier.
Ray, can't take this!
Like I said, 001, we bring you the news, and then we bring you psychological trauma.
We're bringing you the scuffed presentation.
Here's the best part. What we're getting right now is we're not getting Ryan's final thoughts on anything. We're getting his thought process to get to his final thoughts.
We're getting everything.
He's not leaving...
The look behind the curtain.
Ryan leaves nothing. Ryan leaves nothing on the cutting room floor. It's all saying it.
It's all here. I am the scuffed individual running the show. That means that my thought process is pure, unadulterated bliss. Scuffed bliss.
Ryan, can I ask you a question?
How
hot is it under all those layers right now?
You know, it's the layers, the lights. It's really, you know what? I got my sunshades on, so it's. I'm not that hot, you know. My scuffed heart is pretty cold, so it's pretty easy to resist the heat.
I'm less scuffed and more overheated.
I'm sweating.
So you know what
He's sweating.
So Square's gonna have some good stuff, but it's not gonna be the best stuff. All right, Xbox. I think I gotta fall in line, but you know what? I'm coming around to the idea that isn't scuffed enough. That isn't pure scuffness. All right, and what are we looking for here? We're looking for pure scuffness.
What are you gonna do?
So I'm trying to think of what is the most pure scuff move I can make on this board right now.
Scuff would be putting Gearbox in S. That's the most scuff thing.
No, that's a stupid move. that's the move a dumbass would make. So for scuffed E3, you know what? I think the most scuffed thing I can do is not break the mold. That's the least scuffed thing. We're going to leave Xbox in S tier, Jeff Keighley in A tier, Devolver B. I think that's running our tiers good. PC Gaming Show, I'm sorry. You have a place in my heart, but you're going to be 6 hours long with the future game show, and it's going to be horrendous. Just really...
It's a very small place. It's the cheapest room in the apartment of my hot, and it's furthest away from the hot.
I don't know if any of you remember the PC Game Show last year or the Kind of Funny thing where good old Greg Miller came on stage and there was this weird like lights on everywhere and they transitioned every 5 seconds. It was just not very enjoyable. I think that's going to happen again.
You could tell that Greg was trying, but
I am crying that you have all turned into Bostonians.
I live in Boston. I don't know what you're talking about. Park the car in Harvard Yard.
You
All
live
right.
in Massachusetts. You don't live in Boston.
I have. So my scuffed heart understands the way of the Bostonians, the Cambridgeites. I get
we'll
it.
give him credit. Every time I go to Boston, I see so many people wearing those exact sunglasses. So
Look,
he does have the look down.
I had to trick everyone with the fedora for a few seconds to go the route of neckbeard, and I want to make it clear this character,
That's what I thought.
this individual, this neckbeard character is not revealed yet. That is not scuffed. That is if someone pulls out the neckbeard card. All right, this is scuffed. This is true scuffness. So everyone remember, the stakes are getting a card, getting something written out. Double O Radio will become, and then we will all have to become whatever that is. I'm not saying it's going to be permanent. It might be a one-off. Maybe it'll be a recurring segment. We'll see, depending on how scuffed it is. So, this is my final tier list. What's the judgment from the council? The conglomerate.
It is a reverse bell curve almost. It's like almost a bell curve, but then it kind of like caves in on itself.
I think overall, given the whole thing, it's almost a bell curve.
I think most importantly, it makes sense. Also, it is a sensible ordering of things. A little insulted by Jeff, but A isn't bad.
Even after listening.
Look, if he didn't take Amazon Prime money, I'd be happy with him in S. He took the Amazon Prime money.
I wasn't okay with Alex putting him on A tier, but I'm totally fine with Ryan putting him on A tier.
I got the reasoning. Now the only black sheep in this list.
You're looking into my eyes, Wyatt.
Summer Games Fest, I'm giving a lot of doubt. That could prove to be a true wild card of a presentation. It might be an A tier. It might be an S tier. It might be the best thing this entire show has because Jeff Keighley is a golden god. But
I do completely agree with you on the Gearbox front because what do they have? What are they really
even if they show everything they could possibly have, it can't be anywhere near as good as whatever Xbox and Nintendo are gonna do. Nothing.
Not qualitative. Certainly not quantitative.
And if it's a Gearbox specific thing, they're probably gonna have Randy come out and he's just gonna.
Let me tell you, Randy Pitchford. People think Randy Pitchford represents the scuffed community, and they are very wrong. Very, very wrong about that. Randy Pitchford does not represent the scuffed community. I don't know what community he represents, but they should be on the moon. We don't want him here.
Confirmed. Ryan wants Randy Pitchford on the moon.
I'm not Ryan. I'm scuffed. That's the only title you get right now.
Confirmed.
I don't trust the rest of you with my name. I am just scuffed. All right.
SKUFT. Scuffed.
There it is.
Except the S is a 5.
No, it's the cool S from like middle school.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's properly scuffed.
Oh God.
All right. We've done it. We've done the tier list. We can go back to the regular cams. Now let me ask all of you, what is the thing we do at the end of this podcast? I know there's a thing that the dude who showed up a minute ago that I beat up and took his clothes.
Schedule my next therapy session.
Said there's a bit we do at the end of the show. What is that? What's the bit?
Called whisper-ins.
Yeah, I think it's whisper-in.
All right, whisper-ins. Well, who does it? Give me an example.
We just talk about something that we truly despise,
but very quietly.
With all our hearts, but very
quietly.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna get real close. You know what we're gonna do?
We're gonna get oh God.
The different pop filter so I can get even closer to the mic to tell you the scuffed truth. Scuffed truth? Randy Pitchford, what are you doing? Come on. I mean, just come on, man. Just take Ubisoft 2. What are y'all doing with your company and your employees? He's not properly scuffed to have harassment in a workplace. I mean, come on. Do better. Jeez. Walk in here.
I'll go next. I hate how just pompous and full of themselves Sony has been acting for the past couple of years in terms of how they treat crossplay, how they treat their various platforms and charging extra for their exclusives. I'm really not a fan. And I think that's not what got them to the point they are now, because the PS4 was so focused on the user experience and treating users correctly. And I think this just goes completely against why they were so loved for so many years.
When were they charging more for their
Now.
exclusives?
Now, $70 for Returnal, and
Jesus.
their exclusives from now on are gonna be $70.
Hey, I respect the Grift game. That's truly scuffed.
Oh.
Who wants to go next after Wyatt's ASMR ranting session?
I'm full enough of hatred to go next. I don't know how this sounds because I'm very close to the mic, but I'm hoping
Properly
it sounds
scuffed.
absolutely horrible. I think EA is the worst thing ever to happen to this planet, and that I hope the worst things happen to them, because the EA desktop app is the worst thing I've ever downloaded onto my laptop.
It's
And I tried-
practically malware.
It is. I tried playing Battlefield
Better than
1,
Origin.
and all the menus were black and nothing would load, and no servers were showing up even though it was putting me into games. It was horrible, and it barely works.
I hate defending them, but in my experience, the desktop app has worked better than Origin. Not that that's saying very much, but
You're insane.
I know.
You're out of your goddamn gourd, is what you are. You're loopy.
I will say,
it.
I will say it is committed a cardinal sin in that it won't allow me to download Titanfall 2, and that's pretty awful.
Yeah. And
That's
just
pretty
not
awful.
okay. That's
It's
scuffed.
not okay.
That's not,
Not okay.
scuffed. I want to make a clarification here. Scuffed does not mean bad. Scuffed means scuffed. There's no definition of scuffed. It is scuffed.
It's a way of life.
It's a
True
state of
definition
being.
Scuffed in itself is scuffed.
It's like Nirvana. It's hard to reach, and once you get there, you can't go back.
Oh my god. Alex, go. You're last. Come on.
End this nightmare.
Wasn't prepared to hate something other than
You want to go off on Call of Duty a little more?
Yes, I do. I hate Call of Duty, and most of those other boots on the ground first-person shooters with a burning passion, as any of you who have
He's
seen
a
that
little too
episode
good at
before
this.
have witnessed to. You saw my outburst here. Now it's much more calm and controlled. There's much more of a seething, constantly burning, like a pilot light of fury underneath all of this. I believe most of those games are unacceptable, and they have done nothing to further the first-person shooter genre at all. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, this was a truly scuffed show. Hated being here. Hope I don't have to come back.
But I'll be here anyway.
I come when I am needed. I'll beat up the dude who sits in this chair normally and come back, take his clothes.
Yeah, we never really liked him anyway, so we
I
appreciate
get it. He's total pushover. All right. Okay, I found his card in his pocket. It said to do podcast airs Tuesdays, 3 a.m. Pacific time. Oh, sorry. Scuffed 4 a.m. Pacific time.
I feel like this is the Venom version of Ryan.
Next couple of weeks are
Like
going to be pretty
Spider-Man
scuffed
3.
because there's traveling going on. Going to be different locations. Podcast will be weird.
Ryan in the upside down.
Might be a little scuffed for a while. You don't know. All right. Any other scuffed announcements?
No.
Great. That means I can play the outro and we can get the heck out of here. What's the laughs for? Not very scuffed.
I mean, we're all just having a good time here.
We're having a
I'll-
ball.
I'll say whatever I need to say to have you not beat the crap out of me.
You
So.
sound like Taz, Ryan.